happening, everybody? This is Christina, Miss Motorhead, and today we have Bekkah. And I found Bekkah actually on Instagram, I believe.
Yeah.
We've been chatting for a little while, and she's a local from Ventura, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
So yeah, Bekkah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Bekkah. Some people might know me as Our Lady of Destruction, or they might recognize my car's name as Big Betty. Very recognizable matte black derby cars with the pink and blue ombre glitter flames. I drive locally in the Ventura Demolition Derby, but also pretty heavily in the southern circuits. So Paris, Chino, Irwindale, Orange County Fair. Crash a lot of cars all year. And a little bit of drifting on the side, but I mostly destroy things pretty well.
Right. That's awesome. So how did you get into demolition?
My mom actually took me to my first demolition derby when I was 5 at the Ventura County Fair. You know, when it was like the first night of the fair every year. So she took me every year to that because when she was a little girl, her family would go. So she just really liked it and kind of passed it down. And because I'm my father's daughter, I have that wild hair in me. And I was like, I could do that. I'm going to do that. One day I want to do it. And I would say that every year. Nobody really took me serious. They were like, there was no women doing it when I was a child. So there was no one to be like, I'm going to be like her. It was just like, I'm going to do that. And then when I was 27, it was like 2 weeks after my 27th birthday, I had a really bad car accident that left me with PTSD. And so the odds of me being able to even physically recover from that accident to do something like derbies was like 20%. And so when I did beat those odds and I did get tired of having PTSD because there's no way to live, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for that lifelong dream, and I'm just going to go for it finally. So it was, it sucked. It was the catalyst to force me to actually make good on that little girl's promise. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get into it? Like, what did you do to get started?
So getting into it actually was really hard. It's probably triple as hard as a woman, because most people, when I would say I wanted to do it, kind of were like, you want to do it? I had to spend a good few months knocking on any door I could find, any person I could find, just asking, where do you buy the cars? What do I do? How do I do this? And I wasn't getting anywhere for a long time. And so I resorted to Facebook. This is going to sound kind of weird, but I just started finding Demolition Derby Facebook groups and joining them like one after another and just being like, here's what I'm trying to do. Here's where I want to drive. I can't figure it out. Does anyone have a car they might want to get rid of? Does anyone have any help? And luckily I just happened to join the Night of Destruction page for Paris Raceway. And I was introduced to a man named Dan Picella who builds derby cars, and he was willing to help me out. So luckily, by being crazy and begging for help on Facebook, I kind of opened the door a little bit, and then from working with him, he helped me open it all the way to just step all the way through as a driver.
Okay. That's awesome. So is that where you learned or met up with other females?
Yes.
As well?
So Dan, he builds the cars for the Chino Challenge Women's Derby. And I was looking for a car for the Ventura Derby here, which was conveniently 2 weeks after the Chino Challenge last year. So he was like, hey, I need women to drive this event. If you come do this one, I can help you build a big car for Ventura. So the women in Chino drive compact cars, so like Toyota Camrys, Nissan Sentra, stuff like that, old ones. But the Ventura Derby's full-size Crown Vics, big old Cadillacs, big cars, so it was quite a jump up to go from a small car to a full-size. But from working with him in the first one, kind of helped give him confidence of like, all right, let's get her another one. And then another one, and then another one, and another one.
So your very first demolition derby, What was it, with all female or?
Yes.
Okay, it was.
So the very first one, and I got lucky because I wanted my very first one to be the Ventura Raceway Derby. I told myself I just wanted to do it once. I never expected it to become what it has become for me. I thought it would just be, I'm going to do this once because I said I would do it. I'm going to do it. And so it ended up being better because I think if the Ventura Derby had been my first one with the huge cars, I'm not sure I would have got the bug like I got getting to drive with the women, because it's two very different experiences, driving with only women versus being the only woman. So getting to see how many women there were and being empowered by that, and then going and being the only woman and being empowered by that, I got like a holistic, like, I like all of this. Yeah. I want all of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So the first one you did in Ventura was a mix. You were the only female there.
The only female driver. I think there was about 16 cars in total, so me and 15 men.
So do you get to meet everyone beforehand?
No.
You don't?
No. So most times people know each other because if you think the racing world is small, the Demolition Derby world is teeny tiny. So most of the people here, they already know each other, or they've driven together before. Same with the women. You'll get familiar faces, and you're like, I know you. You build friendships, and then there'll be fresh faces. So I was a fresh face last year, so I didn't know anyone the first 2 times. Just show up and hope for the best and try to network in people. And luckily I met a lot of friends. So this year I know most of the people ahead of time, and then other people are the new faces of where it's like, oh, they don't know us.
Right.
So now I'm on the other side of it this year.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long has it been now that you've been doing it?
Officially 12 months.
Oh, wow.
I just finished like my full first year.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting.
In 12 months, I did 6 derbies so far, with a 7th one to go this week.
Wow. That's pretty good.
It's a lot. It's I will drive in more derbies this month alone than probably most people will do in a whole year. I'll have done 3 derbies in 4 weeks.
Wow.
So it's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Okay, so I'm curious, and I know most people probably are, because not a lot of people know about Demolition Derby, but when you do a race, how much do you spend, and how long is your prep time for a race?
It can really depend on what type of car you're going for, how much you're going to build it, is it going to be stock, what you're kind of going to add. People take 2 drastically different approaches to their car. Some people just get in, stock seatbelt, nothing extra, crash it and go. Some people add race harnesses, a little bit of extra padding, kind of update it a little. I'm kind of in the middle. I have added harnesses, and I have ran the stock seatbelts. I will always pad the doors, so that's usually just like recycled. People use old couch pillows, stuff like that. The cars,
like, duct tape it to the...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing fancy, but it's some good... I like pink duct tape, personally. Duct tape it to the inside of the door, loop it over the top, and you just bounce off of it as best you can and hope it stays. I try to remember to pad the top by my head, but I don't always remember to do that. The cars can kind of range in price. The compacts can be anywhere from like $300 to $900, depending on where you get them. What you get, if you get a already crashed one that can run again. The big cars can get a little expensive. I think my Crown Victoria was like $2,000 before I painted it or anything like that. The cost of paint it's just spray paint, house paint, but it can add up because I like to have multiple colors and glitter and all the extras. But once you have that, it's really just... I wear a race helmet. Some people wear a dirt bike helmet. Some people wear half helmets. Everyone kind of falls on a different scale of safety. I just go for the race helmet to protect my head. I know it's going to bounce. Some people wear full fire suits. Some people just wear jeans and a shirt. I kind of in the middle. Sometimes I'll wear a fire jacket and jeans. Sometimes I'll wear a sweatshirt and jeans, depending on what kind of car I'm in and how much I need to turn around. It can be a pretty cheap sport, but it can also become pretty expensive depending on what you want and what you're willing to put into it.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So, have you been hurt? I'm sure everybody's curious.
Yes. And how hurt is relative.
Yeah.
Last year, I cracked a molar in half.
Oh.
It didn't hurt in the moment, but my wallet hurt to put it back together. You always walk away with bruises, some type of headache, a little bit of whiplash. Sometimes I'll wear a neck roll. Not always, because it limits visibility.
Yeah.
You'll always walk away with some type of ache or pain or some weird thing where you're like, oh, that hurts. You know, my collarbone hurts from Saturday, but I think I'm fine, so I'll get back in the car Thursday. So luckily nothing major. Probably shouldn't say that out loud. Just cursed myself, but so far pretty good.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on something. But then again, I think also, you know, what I think didn't hurt and I would do it again, someone else might be like, that really hurt, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
so.
right. Everybody has their own level of comfort.
Yeah,
right?
a little different grit to some people.
Yeah, I feel you. Okay, so growing up, did your family like cars? Like, were you into cars? I mean, your mom took you to a demolition derby, so there must be some interest in cars.
So I always grew up in the stands. Like, we would go to the Ventura Raceway for the fair every year. Loved the racing, loved going, liked watching it, but were never a part of it. My mom's dad had a classic car that he would take to like a car show, but nobody was like a motorsports athlete type in our family. Nobody at all.
So you're first generation.
Yes, I am a self-made first generation driver, which is really exciting because that's the legacy I will get to pass down. But it made it really hard for me when I was ready to become a driver to figure out, what do I do? Like, what are the rules? How do I get in? Especially with like dirt tracks and local tracks. They're multi-generational. Everyone has known everyone's family for years. So to try to break in as a first timer who has no connections to anyone, it is kind of hard because you just don't know where to go, who to talk to, and stuff like that. So there was always a passion. They liked going and they liked watching. I was just the craziest one to get in the car and stay in the car.
Awesome. That's really cool. So is there a club you belong to of like an association or anything like that? Like,
yeah, so I'm an active member of the Damsels of Destruction. They're an all-women's demolition derby driving group, team, whatever you'd like to call it.
Okay.
We'll drive in several events, you know, as friends together, but we have one main event every year that is our like formal official home derby.
Yeah.
It's at the Orange County Fair. It's to raise money for Susan G. Komen. We just had it, and so that one's a little bit different. We sign over all of our winnings to donate to charity. All the money goes to charity. So it's for a really good cause. We don't take home any of the winnings, anything like that. It's solely just to raise money for charity, raise awareness about women driving, and just give the crowd like a really good show.
Yeah.
But then we also get like lifelong friends. Like these are
so
people
cool.
that would take a car for you, literally.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, getting to join them and be a part of them is probably like one of the more exciting things that I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, there's something special about a group of women coming together and supporting each other, and I mean, it's pretty powerful. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize it until it actually happens and you're a part of something.
Yeah,
that
so
it feels special.
Before I was an official like member or part of it, I had met them in Chino at my first derby because Dan builds the cars for them. So I got to meet them through him. And the head of it, Tiffany, knew that I was going to drive with the men 2 weeks later, and it was my first big car derby. And she had done a lot of big car derbies, driven with the men. She had made me a note sheet of everything she could think of that a derby driver should know, strategy, tips, where to hit the car, what not to do, what to do when you need to like gather your thoughts. And so she really took me under her wing and just gave me the knowledge and confidence I needed to just launch into it. And then a year later, now we drive together all the time.
That's awesome.
And now I beat her at derbies.
That's great. Well, she did her job, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So how many girls are in that group?
I want to say there's like 16, like what we would call official roster members. Mm-hmm. And then if they can't make an event, there's kind of like a list of people who can switch in and out when there's an opening for the event.
Gotcha.
I think on Saturday we had 13 cars out there. So it's a pretty good turnout.
That's cool. So are they mostly based in California?
Most of them are. A lot of them are in like Southern California, like Orange County, Anaheim, Paris, all of those areas. The winner this year, Brittany, she's from Houston, Texas, originally from Southern California. So people will travel home for the event because that's just how close everyone is.
Yeah,
and how proud they are to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to Demolition Derby and maybe female drivers, I mean, is there a state that has a larger following or more events compared to other states? Like, or is it kind of maybe the same?
It's hard to say because the women's events really don't get much
coverage
attention
and stuff. Yeah,
they're hard to know that they even exist. I didn't even know until I was asked to participate that there even were all-female demolition derbies. I used to be like, oh, it'd be really cool to have one. I want to have one. I didn't even know they existed, and I love that stuff. So it's hard to find. I think California is probably pretty forward in their thinking, so they have a lot of women's events. But also the damsels are here, and they help organize a lot of those events in Southern California. So kind of hit or miss, I guess.
Right. Okay.
I know that female demolition derby drivers make up a very, 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 very small portion of derby drivers in general. So it's also about having enough women to have the whole event sometimes.
Yeah. So what are the kind of the age ranges of like the female drivers and maybe even some of the men that you've met?
So I believe you have to be at least 18.
Okay.
For liability. So it starts at 18. Sometimes we don't have people that young, and it can go up 40s, 50s. There's some people, I don't want to guess their age, but I think they're higher up there, and then everything in between.
Okay.
I'm 30, so I'd put myself probably right in the middle of it.
All right.
But it's really like, as soon as you're old enough to sign that waiver, some people just don't stop.
That's awesome. And then the guys too, it's kind of the same.
I want to say the guys probably start a little younger because the men are kind of antsy, hothead, egos. They want to crash cars and hear the loud cheering, so they start a lot younger. I think women are a little more gradual to be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll try that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait to go out and watch now.
They're really fun. I'm biased. But I think the crowds at demolition derbies they're just like very energetic. They're really loud. They're just something about cars twisting and bending and smoking and things exploding just make people feral. Like I can hear the crowd in the car.
The vibe
through my helmet, through the engines.
Insane.
Yes, you can hear the cheering. You can hear them reacting to stuff. You can hear them booing stuff. Like, it just brings out a whole nother side of people.
Wow, that's really cool. So, after your very first event, I mean, I can only imagine your adrenaline and everything. Like
My first event actually is like 50-50. It was really fun, and I got my feet wet, but so I had a Nissan Sentra, I think it was like an 80s, and it had an aftermarket stereo in it. Mm-hmm. Usually the stereos are stock, you don't have to rip it, nothing will happen. So this one got left, and when I took a specific hit, it ejected the stereo. Out came all the cables, and I'm holding it in my hand like, what the hell do I do with this? Oh. I throw it on the floor because I don't know any better. I'm not super car savvy. Pull all my cables, and I ground myself out, kill the battery. And it's maybe been 4 or 5 minutes of drive time, so it got cut very short.
Yeah.
So I had enough of an experience to be like, I can do this. This was fun. But I wouldn't say I had the like full derby
Okay,
experience.
gotcha. Yeah.
And then when I went to Ventura, I had the full experience. But
Yeah.
after that, I was like, I really want to keep doing this. That was fun. Because, you know, you get out and people are like, oh my God, look at your car. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I got out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I crawled out of it. I'm okay. Like, that was cool.
And you were the only female.
Yes.
At that one.
And my car
Yeah.
was mangled.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
the engine is pushed right up to me. Like, it's,
Wow.
the hood's like this. Somehow it's like bananaed in. I broke the armrest off because I went through it. Like, you look at it and it's almost like a piece of art because you're like, dang, that thing is jacked up.
Wow.
But I love when people look at the cars and they're like, what the fuck? And they look at you like, are you normal?
Yeah.
Like, it's literally
That's
like
great.
an artist being like, yeah, I did that.
That's great.
That's the addicting feeling for me, is when
Yeah.
people look at the car after and they're just astonished a human got out of there
Right.
in one piece.
So do you take before and after
Oh,
photos?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's great.
I'm the type, I stand on the car to take them, too.
That's
Like,
great.
I'm not shy
So we
about
will
it.
definitely be showcasing some of your photos
Yes.
so everybody can see.
I love to take the before, the after photos, and then I have a 360 GoPro in my cars, and I love to show people the hits.
Yeah,
when
we've
my
seen a
body's
few
just
of those on your Instagram page.
ragdolling, and people are like, do you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Isn't that crazy? And like, you just bounced around in a car, and I'm like, yeah, it was really fun.
That's awesome. I love it.
It's almost like the shock factor is a little addicting too, because you're like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And people are like, why?
Yeah.
How did you do that? You're like, yeah, it was fun.
It almost seems like when you go through something like that too, if you go through that, you could go through anything. Like
Yes.
it's such a gnarly thing to get hit like that.
Well, and after my real car accident felt very fragile, because they're like, you'll never do this, or that again. You're like, oh, okay. I'm just like a really delicate little thing. And so to show myself, like, you're not delicate, like, you're tough as shit, you're fine. I was like, all right, yeah, fuck it, I can drive the 405 just fine. And I do now. I drive down it listening to music just fine. But before I couldn't do it. It took me, I didn't drive the LA freeway system maybe for 2 years after my car accident. I could go like other people drive and I'd still freak out, but I personally was just like, I won't drive past Thousand Oaks, can't do it. Just because it was so much traffic, so much going on, just so overstimulating.
Right.
So now that I've been in a lot of derbies where you really have to keep your head on a swivel in a derby, because there are hits coming 360 degrees of anywhere, and I'm trying to drive backwards. So I'm looking all the way backwards, but a hit is usually coming this way because people want your front end. They want your wheels and your axles.
Oh,
So you're
gotcha.
constantly just overstimulated anyways, which
Right.
taught me how to just get over it in the real
Yeah,
world.
I would imagine that would be a great lesson
Yeah.
for driving any
Oh,
freeway.
and my reaction times are fast now.
That's great. I'm now like thinking, okay, when people get into these bad accidents and they have PTSD, maybe they need to like have a demolition derby class they take.
It actually, I would love to have something like that one day, because there is, when I was talking to my doctor and I was like, what do I do? And I was trying to explain to her, like, you don't understand, like, I don't want to drive to LA. Like, I can't. She was like, well, I don't want to drive to LA either. And I'm like, but for different reasons. Like, you just don't want to. I can't.
Yeah.
And there's no solution other than you can take this pill, and that makes you kind of like a zombie, or you just live with it, and that's not fun either.
Yeah.
Then you're just miserable. So you only have two really shitty options. But I told myself there's a third option, and that was just face it. Like,
Yeah.
either it was gonna work or it wasn't, and I needed to try something. So the worst thing is I tried it and it didn't work. But for me, luckily, it worked.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
for me, I thought it was worth the risk. Because it
Yeah.
was either I live my life in this little box of misery or just bust the box open.
Right. Well, I'm glad you busted the box open.
Thank you. Me too.
That's awesome. Okay, so is there any other car stuff that you like to do? I know you mentioned drifting.
Yeah, I started to learn to drift. I'm not super good at it, but I can make a mean smoke curtain. Maybe like October of 2021. So like just under a year. I like to do that. I think it's really fun. That also really helped with my PTSD. It was kind of like the other end of the spectrum where the derbies were being hit, taking a hit, giving a hit. But drifting is like the screeching tires, and you're kind of out of control, but you're in control and you're sliding. And that kind of emulated a different part of my car accident of being out of control and screeching and sliding. So that helped me kind of desensitize a little bit. But I do really want to get more into dirt track racing and more demolition racing. Night of Destruction at Paris, they have different demolition type racing. So it's like
I didn't even know that existed. So,
See, that's
tell us
the
about
thing.
that.
Most people don't know about these. It's almost like a secret society. So they have something called like demo cross, where they take, it's like any car you want. So think like Suburbans, trucks, demolition derby, Crown Vics, and it's full contact, oval track. You can hit people, you can spin them. They put obstacles out.
And I have seen that actually on TV one time, only once.
And they put boats and stuff.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yes, it is really chaotic.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like their main event. They have figure eight racing. They have something called mini stocks, which I'm hopefully going to race next year. You just take any compact little car. I have a Toyota Camry that I drove in the Irwindale Demolition Derby last year. It's beat to hell, holes ripped in doors, just crumpled, good for nothing else. So they take cars like that, you put a nice thick bumper around the front to protect your radiator and stuff, and you race and you can hit full contact small cars.
Wow.
So that's what I'm looking forward to do to kind of supplement everything. I have the bug. I want as much seat time.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes. And I'm trying to get into it with my friends. We want to get more women to do it. So trying to get like a little group to go out and kind of make it happen, and it be like what we supplement our derbies with, because there's only so many derbies a year and there's only so many your body can take. And I prefer like track racing and specifically dirt track. So something like that to kind of keep myself going, keep myself busy.
That's cool. Exciting.
Yeah, there's lots. I want to do everything.
See, that's my kind of girl. I feel you there.
If I had won the lottery the other day, I'd have a fleet of things.
It's so funny because that's one of the things I talked about with someone is they're like, oh, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Well, I would first of all buy my drift car.
Yeah.
Get like a few sets of tires, get myself out to that sparkle drift, and then and then it would basically just be buying cars probably for a while.
I had told my friends, if I win this $1 billion, I am going to build myself a race company and just act like it's a sponsor. So nobody thinks I'm rich. So nobody asks me for my money. But I look like a fully sponsored driver with all these nice toys and
That's
stuff.
Awesome. I love it.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, next time for sure. We can keep trying. It's okay.
Doesn't hurt to dream.
That's right. So, okay, so you have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, so is he into cars too?
Yeah, so he's a stunt driver in the film industry, so he does a lot of like car control, car drifting.
That's cool.
He's been in Australia most of this year working on a movie, so this has actually been my first season like competing without him by myself. So full female power, just me and my best friend going at it, trying to get by. And thankfully Dan helps me. But yeah, we usually are kind of like a 2-person operation. I can't tow, so he usually does the tow and helps with like the car prep. He's very car savvy. I'm not super car savvy. It's something I am working on learning more in terms of, I'm car savvy in the sense of like demolition vehicles and knowing top to bottom how it's built, why it's built that way, where I want to hit someone, where I don't want to be hit. But if you were to make me look at my daily driver and be like, can you point out this part on the car? I don't know. And I can admit that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So learning more of that myself, being a bit more independent. So a little more useful in the mechanic type way, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, we all start somewhere.
Yeah. So. And it as a woman, you're almost conditioned to like not know. Mm-hmm. People are like, I'll do it for you. I'll just have your dad get you gas. Have your dad change your oil. So now trying to do it myself, handle it myself, sort it out myself, change the tires myself, all of that.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
But sometimes I will let them do it for me. Sometimes I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Sometimes I don't want to do it all.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Especially with the derby cars, because they're filthy and they're big, and you're like we have to cut a hole in the hood to let the hot air out, because they're janky old cars, and I'll let the men do that. I don't want to do that. They take a hammer and a screwdriver and just make some janky little hole. And they can do that any day for me. I don't want to do that part.
That's funny. Yeah, this is all stuff I would have never known.
Those cars have some weird quirks to them that you just wouldn't assume. I know I didn't. I thought you got an old piece of shit car and you just crashed it. Yeah. You know, there is a little bit of a science to it. There's a strategy to how you want to do it. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I do remember you were in an article, right, from in a magazine. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I was in, I think it's the March edition of Demolition Derby Life magazine.
Oh. I didn't know they even had like a magazine. That's
it's actually a really nice one. They have thick paper. It's like I expected it to be just a little column of like, here's Bekkah. But it ended up being like an 8-page spread that kind of covered the history of like the damsels, and then my history and my involvement with the damsels, and that was there. So I believe a woman owns the magazine, or is a co-owner in some capacity. And so she really wanted to have something that was like, I think it was Women's Empowerment or Women's History Month.
March, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so she wanted that to be how they represented Women's History Month. So that's awesome. For me was like, I was just excited to be in the magazine at all, or just, you know, because it's was it nationally distributed? So people all over who are in this space that I compete of outside of just California we're going to see it. And then to be the representative for the female drivers was like, oh my God.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
It's more than I would have, you know, like I said, I just thought I would do this one time and then just have the experience. So to go from that to being what I've accomplished for myself was more than I ever...
Yeah.
Way more than I hoped for.
Cool.
So it's all just extra cherries right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what are some of your future plans? Like, what is there anything that you know that you want to keep doing? Or I know we talked a little bit about doing the demo race. Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to prioritize... Demolition derbies will always be my number one. It's always going to be my passion. So doing more of them. I would like to move up classes into the really big cars. So right now I compete in stock classes where they're either mildly modified or not modified beyond safety features. Mm-hmm. I would like to get in the big ones where they are reinforced. And so right now I do derbies where they take all the cars, they run them all at once, they crash them until one car's running. When you get into the big boys, you have to actually compete in heats, like races.
Okay. Yeah.
So you'll crash the top performing. It's usually like 4 cars get pulled for the main event. And so your cars go back and you actually work on them in the pits to get them going, kind of get them ready for the heat. And so I'd like to get to that level. Or they also have team demolition derbies where it's like 4 drivers from each team going at it. I'd love to do that with my friends because I think we could really fuck it up. But then from there I would like to just I really want to keep encouraging other females and girls, women, girls, whatever age, to like get into motorsports. Mm-hmm. I actually sponsor a little girl named Emma. She drives dirt track at Ventura Raceway. Okay. So if it's not me, I want it to be at least another woman in the seat. Yeah. So I kind of want to keep building my empire, but also use that to open doors for the next generation or someone who's even still in my generation to just give them a shot, because there wasn't really anyone when I was a kid, and luckily I found other women as an adult who helped me open that door.
Yeah, right.
So if I could keep passing that down, that would be awesome. Like the other part of that goal.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Exciting. And you have a long rest of your life to go. I mean, you have so much stuff that you can be doing.
And I do not plan to slow down at all. I drove in a demolition derby on Saturday. Today's Monday. I'll be in one on Thursday.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. How
I don't know if that's smart, but we're going to do it.
Well, no one ever said you had to be smart, right? I mean, just have fun.
It's just about feeling fulfilled.
Yeah, that's right. Life is short.
Yep.
Do what you want to do.
Yep. And my accident taught me that tomorrow's like not guaranteed, and I kind of had that mentality. Well, I'm young. I just turned 27. I got a lot of life to live, and I almost didn't have a lot of life to live. So it kind of reset that expectation of like, do it today. Don't say I'll do it tomorrow.
That's right.
Because there might not be a tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah. And I see that actually a lot with a lot of people that I know that have been through a traumatic experience that has set the pace for the rest of their life and how they perceive like what I want to do, and I'm going to get it done. And it's unfortunate, that people have to go through a traumatic experience for that, but it really lights a fire. It really does.
Yeah. And I physically, when I had my actual accident, like I was jacked up, like fractured neck, destroyed nerves, brain, like physically I should be incapable of driving a demolition derby car. I should not be medically cleared to do that. I worked really hard in physical rehab to get to a point where I kind of bullied my doctors into, well, you said I couldn't do it. Why can't I do things? Why can't I do this? And constantly, it started with like, you can't lift anything over your head. Okay, what can I do to make it better? Oh, do these drills. Okay, I did all my drills. Okay, what can I not do now? And just eliminating things and constantly being, as they called me, stubborn and kind of a menace, and like pushing the boundary of like, I'm not going to let you tell me what I can't do. Until we got to a point where they were like, at this point, the only thing that could really hurt you that bad is something just as severe as that accident or like a plane crash. And they told me just make the decision of, is it going to hurt more to do it or not do it? And then take an Advil and do it if that's what you choose. So kind of controlling your own destiny in a way. Yeah. So always be stubborn and be a menace. You choose when it's a no.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
I'm glad they don't. They're probably glad they don't see me. They're probably glad I do not come in anymore.
That's awesome. Well, it's definitely encouraging hearing stories like that. So
thank you.
That's really cool. So if you don't mind me asking, what do you do for your day job?
My day job is I actually work in marketing. I'm a senior marketing specialist at a tech company. Okay. So drastically different from my night job. Yeah. So I help. We make software for like property management companies, and so they can hire our marketing agency within that company to optimize their websites, do social media, do their marketing, their websites, which luckily helps me when I brand myself and my own social media and stuff as a driver. So drastically different. A lot of my clients, when they find out what my hobbies are a little taken back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah. Usually when they find out I have red hair and I do stuff like that, they're like, oh, well, okay, well, that is not what I expected. Especially when I had purple hair, they were like, okay, did not expect that. Cool.
Awesome. That's really cool. So you have your Instagram account. Mm-hmm. Do you have a YouTube channel or anything too?
No, okay. I really should. I've been collecting a lot of in-car footage. Mm-hmm. I break a lot of GoPros, so sometimes I only get half the event, which is okay. Or the infamous video a lot of people see on Instagram is my helmet crashing into the GoPro and sending it tumbling to the floor of the car. Yeah. You're taking very hard hits, and sometimes GoPro mounts are not the strongest. Right. Especially when stuck to a dirty old car. Yeah.
So. Now, do they have windshields?
No.
Okay.
So no some people are crazy. I would never. But they do run. Some people run windshields.
Okay.
I don't have any glass. So you're not supposed to usually have any glass in the car. So there's no mirrors either. Okay. So I have in front of me, like if this is the driver's compartment, there's a metal grate right here. That's a safety grate to keep a car from coming in with me. I have seen people driving with a windshield. Car goes up onto their windshield. Here comes your tire.
Oh, right.
Because cars are heavy and you're going with a lot of force. So
that metal grate, it's welded into the car?
Yeah, it's welded down here and up here, and it's very strong.
Okay.
Some type of shelving. But they usually pop it off, put it on other cars.
Yeah.
But that's a safety feature to keep cars out.
Right.
Other than that, it's just the breeze in your face.
Wow.
There's no windows either. You need to be able to get out in event of a fire and multiple points of exit.
So is it really dirty because of all the dirt and stuff flying around?
Yeah. The cars show up to you dirty.
Yeah.
They've been sitting around in junkyards or wherever they've been stored, or a lot of ours recently were built pre-COVID because nobody saw COVID coming, so they had been sitting longer. And then we drive in the mud. So it's mud coming up in your face. There's weird things flying around in the car. Half the fun is looking on the ground to see what came out from the crevices as you've been hit.
That's right.
I've found a lot of weird stuff in the cars.
Oh, goodness.
So I like to always keep a little memento from each one of something I've found. But yeah, they're pretty if you don't like being dirty, demolition derby driving is not for you. I am filthy. There's usually mud in my hair. I was ripped my pants somehow, like dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think that's half the fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. I love driving in the mud.
That's really cool.
Because you slide
a
lot. So that's where some of that drifting has really helped me, because I understand how to control my car and countersteer as I'm just sliding and out of control.
Yeah.
But I think that's fun. And the crowd likes it. The other half of demolition derby driving is while you are competing, you have to be entertaining the crowd or they won't come. So you got to be driving with style. You got to be on the gas, the big hits, you know. If it's you and your best friend at the end, don't just bump them to end it. Like, take no prisoners and ram them.
Yeah.
You're there to entertain them. Yeah. While you are competing, it's a real sport. You do have to be flashy about it.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. The whole entertainment factor of it is really, that's what it's all about.
Yes.
People
and they
want to
remind
see
us.
crashing and
Every driver's meeting, they're like, don't bumper car it. You better ram people. Because if it's not entertaining, people won't come anymore, because these cars, as you're crashing them, they do get harder and harder to drive. They start hard to drive. You know, they're not brand new cars off the lot. Most of them don't really have great power steering, or something's bent, or something's rubbing. And then as you're crashing and you're losing fluids, and I pop tires all the time.
Yeah.
I drive on my rims often, just very hard to control. You're just kind of limping around, and you have to figure out how to make that entertaining, because nobody wants to watch you kind of just hobble around for 20 minutes and just bump things. You got to hit things. They want the smoke. They want the crumpling. They want the loud sounds. On Saturday, I had an airbag pop for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, it was in my passenger side, but it scared me.
I was going to say, because you're supposed to probably take them out of the driver's side, right? Yeah, that one was
supposed to be disconnected, too, but it happens.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's so many cars.
Yeah. So it scared you, huh? Because it came
I wasn't
out.
Expecting it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's just huge smoke everywhere.
Yeah.
The crowd loved it. I mean, they're just going wild. And so for me, it's like, all right, whatever. Just keep driving. Like, took me by surprise, but people love stuff like that. So doing it with flair is kind of like 50% of the job out there.
Right. Yeah, you know, I can imagine how different every single race is going to be. Because there's like, it's a different car, you know, on top of that, there's things that can go wrong or come out, and like, so it must be super cool to just experience something different like that every single time. You
never know what will happen, and it almost also levels the playing field, because I'm only as good as my car. Mm-hmm. And I always remind people, like, I'm not in control. Big Betty is in control. If she wants to drive today, we're going to drive today. But if she doesn't, we're parked. And it's happened before, you know, when the radio came out. In that day, the car was in control. I wasn't in control. And that's okay. That happens in all forms of driving and racing. Like, the car is always in control, and you just have to respect that. But I feel like once you respect that and you get over your own ego as a driver, that's when you really come together with the car and you just destroy other people.
Right, yeah. That's really cool.
That's why I give my car like a personality. You know? You're gonna be nice to me, right, Big Betty? But Big Betty actually is my PG way of calling her Big Bitch, because every derby car I've ever driven at one point or another has made me cry out of frustration in the prep part of like something has gone wrong, something's not working. So that's why I call her Big Betty. But it also, she terrorizes the other cars, so it works on both sides of it.
That's cool. So how long, I mean, what is the typical time frame for a demolition derby? Like, I mean, I guess I know you don't have like a specific time, but like I can imagine when everybody's just trying to kill each other.
So it depends. The men, they don't drive as long as the women.
Okay.
So, and I probably have a bunch of male drivers want to beat my ass when they see me on the track for saying this, but the females drive better.
Okay.
The men are going for the big hits. They're just aggression, aggression, aggression. So their derbies are like 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then you're done. When I drove in Ventura, I think it was 10 minutes. The big car derby I watched last weekend, men, 10 minutes. The women are like 30 minutes. You're in that car a long time if you're in the top two. I think my total drive time on Saturday night was like 33 minutes.
Wow.
And it's exhausting. Like, you are huffing and puffing and you're twisting and you're turning and you're looking this way and you're gas pedaling and you're shifting and you're spinning with... I drive usually with one arm behind me and like this when I'm going backwards. If I'm going forward, it's like hand over hand trying to spin really quickly. I've never been in a female derby that didn't last at least 20 minutes.
Okay.
And it's usually also to a higher car count with the women sometimes.
Oh.
Like Chino had 20 cars, which is it's a lot of cars to crash and hit. And then you also, there's time rules. So these can fluctuate by track. You have to hit someone or be hit every 2 minutes or you're timed out.
Oh, wow.
So you can't play dead or hide.
Okay.
You must be making contact.
Yeah.
Some derbies it's 1 minute, and some derbies it's that you have to hit every two. Not that you took a hit, that I hit someone every 2 minutes.
Okay.
And so those can really multiply how many hits you're taking in a night.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules to derbies that the crowd doesn't know about.
I have no idea.
There's a lot of rules that it just looks like we're having at it and having chaos, but there's rules we're following.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the big one, and the other big one is to not hit someone's driver's door.
Okay.
Because there's nothing. There's a crossbar right here. Whatever amount of padding the driver has chosen, whether it's 0 or a lot, and just the door. The full door is gutted. So it is just that middle part. It's welded shut. And so if a car hits you, it's going to hit you and things are going to come through the window.
Right.
I've taken a bumper through the driver's window to my helmet. So that's why we try, don't hit.
Okay.
Don't do it. That's
Can
why
you
you'll
get in
see
trouble?
markings on the tires. Yeah.
Okay.
So on a front wheel drive car, there'll be on the front tires, there'll be a mark or an X. If it's spinning when you hit someone's driver's door, you're on the gas. It was intentional. If it's not spinning, you tried to avoid it and you couldn't. So that's how the officials know, but that's why the tires are painted too. On a rear wheel drive, it'll be in the rear because those will be the ones powering it.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
That's why I make pink X's on my cars. It's not always for style.
Sure, no.
Yeah.
This is going to be cool because now when I go out to race, I'm going to be like, I know what that means.
Once you know all the secrets. And then that's the flags up top or the stick, depending on what derby. We have those because we break them when we're done.
Okay.
So if I break it, it means you can't hit me anymore. I'm off the clock. I'm out of the competition.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Lots of little things.
So if somebody is intentionally hitting you on the driver's side, how do they get that person off the race?
They'll usually black flag you.
Okay.
If they think it wasn't intentional, like
Yeah.
if they're like, oh, they might not have been able to see you, or sometimes like, we're moving. So if you're coming at me and I threw my driver's door out there and you hit me, it's probably just a wash. It was unavoidable. But if it was intentional and they think it wasn't, they'll black flag you.
Okay.
They'll usually leave you in the car, make you break a flag unless it's like really egregious and someone's going to get in a pit fight. They might pull you out of the car, but they usually just will black flag you.
Have you ever experienced a pit fight before?
I have never been to a demolition derby where someone was not upset after.
Oh.
That's the thing
Okay.
is, we're hitting each other.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be someone who
Aggression.
feels like,
Yeah.
this person hit me too hard or that person hit me too many times. Like, there's a lot of passion in that sport. Everyone wants to do well, and some days it's just not your day, and some people don't always have that mentality.
Right.
So there's always a time where someone's like,
Yeah. Girls too? I mean, I could see guys being a little bit more, but like the girls
so
too?
the girls are, they're not going to go up and slap you in the pits or anything like that, but the next time they see you, they're going to give you a good bump with the car. They're going to give you a good one.
Funny.
That's what I mean. The women are calculated.
Yeah.
They're going to go for you.
Yeah. This sounds like a woman kind of move.
Yeah. And it happens, it's in good sport because the crowd likes to watch it.
Yeah.
If I give you a really great hit and I blew your radiator and smokes everywhere,
Yeah.
you're not going to like it, but everyone else is going to like it, and that's just the sport we signed up for.
Right. Yeah.
Some days you win, some days you don't, and do it again probably in 2 months.
Yeah. Right. Wow. That's pretty
It's usually
cool.
the parents who get, and the families.
Oh, that makes sense.
Usually the drivers are like, that was really fun. And
Yeah.
the families are like, you hit her too many times, or you didn't clock out when you were supposed to. And all the drivers are in good spirits, but the families get very like...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's kind of, even in just kids' sports, you see
Think
the
of
families.
baseball parents and
Yes.
times that by 50.
Oh my goodness.
And there you have it. And these
Yeah.
are grown women and men in these cars, so they make their
Yeah.
parents older too.
Yeah.
I think it's entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, too funny.
But we all hang out after. We'll have, like, the damsels will do, like, a champagne toast, hang out after, celebrate. Most people will be like, oh my God, you hit me so hard, and just kind of trade stories of what their drive was like.
Yeah.
It's always in the back of your head if somebody took a dirty shot on you and you're like, oh, next time. Next time I get you. You'll still hang out and be friends, but then it's competition.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it
like
makes
with any
sense.
sport.
Just, I was going to say, like, sometimes when we're out at the track doing some track racing, yeah, there's somebody who will maybe pass you, and you're like, I'll get you on that next turn,
I'll let you have today, but next time's my day.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So I get that, totally.
It's all friendly competition.
Yeah, definitely. So have there ever been times where, like, after your derby's done, and do you get to see the crowds, and like has anybody ever come up to you and wanted to like meet you or like think it's cool because you're a girl driving?
Yes. So in certain events we do like meet and greets. Like in Irwindale we brought the cars out, all the drivers were at a table and you could sign them. Paris is like that, they'll bring the cars out, they'll give candy out at the cars. At the OC fair they could walk up right to like the K rail, and so when I got second place, so
Oh, cool.
I got out and my car was kind of near the K rail. There was tons of people. It always feels really weird because I still view myself as like I'm just a normal person,
Yeah.
but to them I'm not a normal person.
Yeah.
So it takes me a moment to be like, oh yeah, go take photos and say hi and like wave your trophy at people. Like just don't walk away. Like I always have to remind myself, like,
Yeah,
those
right.
people paid money to see you.
Yeah.
Like to them,
Yeah, that's
you're like
true.
Wonder Woman
Yeah,
right now.
right.
You're not just Bekkah. You
Yeah.
are this whole package.
That's pretty cool.
But I never get used to it because I try to be really humble about like, like it could be you, it could be you,
Yeah.
but like it is me in the car, and I have to remind myself of that sometimes.
Right.
But I love when people, especially little girls, see the car. When I designed the original Big Betty car for Ventura, I knew I would be the only woman. Like you knew. And so that's why I was very intentional about every decision I made. That's why I have a neon pink helmet, so that you knew it was a woman that hit you.
Yeah.
And the girls in the stand know that that's a woman in the car. And I wanted the car to be feminine, but still like gritty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's matte black, but it has pink glitter flames with the Tiffany blue, and the skull has a bow. And it was a car that like no man could look at and be like, that's a sissy car because she's
Yeah.
mean looking. But every girl and woman there could be like, I like that car.
Yeah.
I can relate to that car. Like that represents me. And so that's why I've just always kept it, because people have really latched on to him. Like, I love it. I love Big Betty. I love the pink helmet. People always, they tend to know the car and the helmet, but they don't know I am who is under the helmet and in that car. So it's always funny when people are like, you're the girl under the pink helmet? And, yeah, that's me. And they're like, I knew the helmet, but I didn't know it was you. I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that, though.
That's rad. I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, that's what we hope for. I mean, that's what gets the next generations going when they see girls out there and they're like, I can do that. She's doing it. I can do that.
Yeah. Emma, the girl I sponsor, her mom had found me on Facebook because, they hype up the drivers ahead of time for the Ventura Derby. She was like, hey, can my daughter come meet you? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, of course, like, still just a normal person, but yes, of course I'm going to say yes. So I came out of the pits, I brought the pink helmet, met her, signed her an autograph. And I guess I was like the first female, like, derby driver, but also dirt track driver, racer that she had the opportunity to personally meet. And then so that got her to be like, I want to race and all this stuff. And we've kept in contact. And now she wants to drive Demolition Derby cars. So I promised her, I was like, when you are 18, I will drive one with you. Like, I will see that through with you. So it's really cool to know that, like, that one interaction that took 2 minutes out of my whole day that I just made time for has changed somebody else's trajectory of their life and their dreams and what they want to do. And it being an inspiring moment for someone that before that I didn't know. Yeah. But to them, I meant something already.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
That's why I try to remind myself of make the time for people, even if I think I'm just a normal person that no one should want to meet. But to them, they do. So honor it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I never really thought about, like, I mean, when I meet people for the first time, and if somebody knows about Miss Motorhead, I try and explain and talk to people, but I try and do it in a way that, like, they don't know what Miss Motorhead is about, and because I have to remember that not everybody understands it, so I explain it, and because I want to support and be there. Yeah. So, but sometimes it's hard to remember that, like, not everybody understands all that stuff, so I have to just put myself out there a little bit more, but
yeah, and it's hard because, like, I don't do this to get famous or through notoriety or be a household name. Yeah. I do it for a therapy cause, really, and for enjoyment. So I have to remember that is part of it, is people are watching you. They are cheering for you. They do know who you are. You do need to take time for that and, like, let yourself also enjoy that part of it and not try to hide from it sometimes. Right. Because it does feel a little awkward. You're like, oh, I'm just Bekkah, like...
Yeah, I can imagine your first autograph. That's got to be like...
I took a picture of it. Did you? Yeah. And then I sent a lot more after that, but I took a picture of the first one, and I still have the picture of it.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I can't wait till one year we can do a calendar where I can have... I want to showcase different women's motorsports each month. So it'd be so cool to
get the wide spectrum of them.
Yes, like all the different scenarios that women in motorsports can, all the different options that are available. People just don't even know, but something that just promotes it and maybe even just information about it. And because I could see girls wanting a calendar like that, for Christmas or something, where it's like promoting women. I don't know.
Well, it's someone you can relate to. Yeah. I think that for Emma, that's what really helped her, it was finally someone she could relate to. Like, the girl in the pink helmet, she's like me. Before you look at the men, you're like, oh yeah, you got a cool car. Oh yeah, you crash it up. But you're like, I'm never going to be a man, so I can't really relate to you. I can cheer you on, but I can't emulate you, really. Like, I can be inspired, but I can't be like, I want to be just like you. Right. Because you can't. There's limitations in the way. But for a woman, you're like, I can be just like her. I can follow in her footsteps, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. That's so cool.
So as men have had enough attention. It's time for the girls.
Yeah, definitely time for the girls. Well, I'm super stoked that I met you. I mean, I've never spoken with anybody who does Demolition Derby.
I get told that a lot.
I just think it's super rad, and I want you to keep doing what you're doing because it's so cool. And I've watched a ton of your videos, and they're so much fun. I love watching them.
They're usually a little shocking to people at first. They're like, I get a lot of "Are you okay?" messages. If I posted it, I'm okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And we'll be sure to maybe put a couple in the video so
Yeah.
people can see kind of what you got
I have
going
some
on.
good ones. I have some new ones I can add.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very cool.
I did just bounce my face off the roof of the car finally, so.
Gosh, that's so crazy. Man, yeah. I think if I was to do it, I think that would be my one concern is like the risk involved. But
you know,
really,
in the moment, you don't
yeah,
realize that
right.
that is what has happened
Yeah.
until I watched the GoPro. I was like, huh. So that's what you hit. I looked at my helmet and I was like, dang, that thing is scratched.
Wow.
Like, I might need a new one. I was like, I'm not in pain. I'm not in the ambulance. Like, I'm okay. And then you watch it and you're like, damn. And then you're also like, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because how many people can
Yeah.
say, I bounced my face off the roof of a car and
my
kept
goodness.
driving. I mean, my shield was up too. I'm notorious for putting my shield up because it gets hot, even though I'm
Yeah.
getting dirt in my face.
Yeah.
And I hit it and it even shuts my shield and I just like turn down and drive away. And like, when you think about it, you're like, that's kind of like a superhuman thing to say.
Yeah.
And so like kind of, it's like a cool little accolade. You're just kind of collecting these absurd, I've hit my face on the dashboard. I've sat on the passenger side of the car, pulled myself up by the steering wheel. Now I've bounced my face off the roof. They're like fun little icebreakers you can tell other drivers.
Right.
Other drivers love swapping like
Yeah.
one upping.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done this.
Right.
I've been on fire.
Nice. So I'm assuming there is no way to do any sort of ride-alongs.
Well, there are types of derbies where there are two people in the car.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they do them here. I haven't seen one locally, but there are.
Okay.
If you're brave enough to want to sit on the passenger side, I wouldn't sit on the passenger side. That's
I don't know
usually
about
what
that.
gets the worst
Yeah.
bumpings. But
Right.
the GoPros are a great ride along because you won't be
Yeah.
sore after.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I
They
can
do
only
have
imagine.
those though where you can. It's like there's some where one person has like the gas and the brake and one person's steering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that takes coordination.
Oh my
and
goodness.
trust.
Yeah,
Very
lots
good
of trust.
Yeah, and
I
good
didn't know
communication
that.
because so when I drive, I'm entirely by myself. We don't have receivers, no two ways, no nothing. It's just you in the car.
Yeah.
Just totally. You just
Right.
your thoughts. So one like that, you'd be like, okay, I gotta figure out how to work with someone and talk. Because there's so much going on in these things. I don't even utter like curse words to myself. I'm just like, go, go,
Yeah.
go, go, go. So I'd probably forget that I even know how to talk to speak
Yeah.
to another person.
Right.
But I would love to try it.
Wow. Yeah, that would.
I don't know if I'd want to steer or do gas and brake. Because I do a lot of throttle control driving. To kind of like, if I'm getting a hit in the rear, I'll gas out of it and kind of whip the wheel to kind of let the force
Yes,
go through.
right.
So if I'm not, I feel like I would have a hard time letting go of that control.
Yeah, that would
But I
be
would try it.
tough.
I would try it
I
with
can
someone
imagine
else.
while you're driving, your feet are wanting to move the whole time.
Yeah.
How weird would that be? That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
That would be a
probably try it
really
with
good
a teammate.
experience.
Yeah, someone
Like,
I'm used to driving against. Okay, we have
Yeah.
kind of similar stuff.
Yes,
I can
yeah.
give up a little control to you.
Yeah. I can imagine the giggles going on in the car when that's going on. Especially girls, like especially guys probably would be more serious, but if it was me and a girlfriend and we were trying
We
to do
actually,
that,
even when we're by ourselves, we talk through the windows to each other. If we like bump up and I can look through the window, or I've like come up and I slid, and
Yeah.
we're like waving at each other. Like people in the audience probably are like, what the hell?
that's funny.
Like last year, it came down to like 3 of us, and we were all really good friends, and we had all kind of just like pinched in a corner, and we were just looking through the window, like it's only us. There's no one else, and we're just like giggling and laughing. And then the announcer's like, "Are they talking to each other?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, drive backwards."
Oh,
It's those
funny.
cute memories you catch on camera too. Of like you're just like waving at your
Yeah.
friends, and it's not normal to anyone else but you.
Yeah, right. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So have you guys, does your group, have you taken like a big photo of everybody, all the girls?
Yeah, we took one. So before the official Damsels of Destruction Derby, we have like a rose ceremony.
Okay.
Where you pull out all the cars onto the track, you get out, you go over the K-rail into the stands, they give you a pink rose, we all line up, and you like introduce yourselves. And then they take a big group picture there. Last year we took one. Last year was the 10-year anniversary of the Damsels of Destruction.
Oh, wow.
So after the event, we took a group photo. And then they take as many as you can, but sometimes you get so chaotic that you forget to like take a photo.
Right.
Because, you know, the day goes by really fast. You're like, oh, I've got so many time. Like, I got 6 hours, and the next thing you know, like, I got 6 minutes. I gotta get in the car. I don't know where the time goes. It just disappears those days, but yeah. But we'll usually go and try to support each other if someone's racing or competing in a derby that you're not in. Like, go and hang out and support them. So
right.
lots of those photos.
Yeah, that's cool. I can't wait to post photos for people to check out.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have probably never even seen a demolition derby. So
no.
I think it's pretty
Anytime...
cool.
When I meet new people, I usually am slow to be like, hi, I'm Bekkah, I crash cars. Because it sounds very like, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, welcome to Jackass. So I'm very like slow to be like, I'll be like, oh, I'm a derby driver. And they're like, what is that?
What is that?
And then I'll pull up my phone and find my most mangled car and be like, that's my car. Right. I did that. Here's my trophies. And I'll go that way instead of trying to like verbally explain it. Because people are like,
they don't.
Why would you do that?
Right.
Or like, why did you pay money for a car to ruin?
Yeah.
Like you are throwing money away technically,
right.
but because it's fun.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Someone has to do it.
It's funny too because I grew up here in Ventura. And going to the fair and watching the Demolition Derby, that's the only reason I know about it is because I've watched them before.
A lot of people don't know what they are. My own best friend had never been to... So I thought they were normal to know. Because I, like you, went to the one at the fair. It was a staple, a tradition. So I thought everyone had that experience.
Yeah.
And so my best friend's first Demolition Derby was my first Demolition Derby. Like, her watching one had to be her watching her best friend do it and knowing my history. So, and apparently a lot of people have never been to them before until they'll come with me to an event. So I didn't know they were so niche.
Yeah.
But I wish they weren't. I wish everyone liked them and went to them.
That's what I'm saying is, like, I'm pretty sure... I think for a couple weeks I've been posting that I'm going to interview you. And I did have one person say they didn't know what Demolition Derby was, and at that moment was when I was like, oh yeah, I guess there are people who probably don't know what it is because maybe they don't have a track or something close to them that they can go to and watch that stuff. Some people are just clueless about anything car related because it's not what their family's done. Yeah. So
there's also people who are into very what I would call like clean cars. So the nice race cars, the nice drift cars, and then I call demolition derbies like redneck Formula One. Like they're dirty cars. They're from junkyards. They might not be as lucrative to some people, so they don't realize that it even exists because it's just not their cup of tea until they see it and they're like, I really like watching that. Yeah. A lot of people say that. Like, I really like watching that. Yeah. I don't want to be in it.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, but that's the extent of it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of motorsports out there that, like, I mean, and I'm a car girl, and there's a lot that I don't know about.
There's a lot. So, I didn't know demo cross existed until I started doing demo derbies, and then going with my friends from those to support them racing in demo cross. I was like, what is this? Because we don't have it here.
Yeah, right.
We only have demo derbies and traditional dirt track racing. We don't have the demolition nights where they'll do like double decker racing, figure eight trailer racing, the mini stocks, like just a night of destructive racing. Yeah. But because we don't have it here, I didn't even know that existed. I wish we had it here.
Yeah, so where is it typically? Like where?
So Paris has it. They have the dirt track one.
Okay.
And Irwindale Speedway has like an asphalt version of it. So they have like the skid plate cars and the trailer races. Okay. And then Paris has like the double deckers. So like one person, it's like two cars on top of each other. Again, same concept. One person steers, one person gas and pedal. And then they figure eight trailer race. They do the mini stocks, full contact, the demo cross. Like it is just full chaos.
Interesting. Crazy.
But I didn't know it existed because we don't have it. So I could see how car people there's sometimes no overlap. Yeah. Because how else would you get exposed to it unless you went? Yeah. You know? Exactly. But that's why I like to go to as many events as I can and just experience something like, oh, I've never been to this.
Absolutely.
Let me go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, this is a whole new world.
Yeah, right. That's so cool.
Especially with the demolition cars, there seems to be no limit to how bananas it can get and what people will try or build.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, like one of the races I would love to be a part of one day when I know a little bit more about cars is the 24-hour Lemons.
I would like to do that.
We should do that.
Would love. I always tell people, like, put me in a shit box and watch me shine.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do really well.
Yeah.
There. I would love
Yeah.
to. We should make a women's only team.
Yeah. So I've already talked to. There's actually, this plant right here is from a company.
Oh, how cute.
She makes plants out of old go-kart tires. It's called Tired Plants, and she was part of a 24-hour Lemons team that won this last race.
Really?
Yeah, I think she had a Miata. I think they had a Miata that they built.
I hate Miatas.
And she, I think, was the only woman on their team. And I met her at it was a wagon meet that I went to is where I met her. And then she came and had a vendor booth at one of our all-girls meets. And then I saw her at Anaheim Cars and Coffee the last time, and that's when she told me she did the 24-hour Lemons.
I'd love to do it.
I know, it looks like so much fun.
Love to do
so much fun. And if we could do an all-women's,
Oh, heck yeah.
that would be rad.
I would love to do it.
So yeah, see, we got goals.
I excel at driving shit boxes. Put me in coach.
That's right. We get a few technical girls, and
I think too, the thing that derby drivers bring that like a traditional race car driver might not bring is that, like, I'll get close to you. I'll make that driver sweat, because if we make contact, it's my comfort zone.
Yes,
so they're going
right.
to back away, and I'm going to push you out.
Yeah, and see, that's why I think we could make a totally good
holistic
team.
of, like, they're going to this,
yes,
and this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. That's on the list.
I'm your girl.
That's awesome.
I will push the boundaries.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. So cool. Oh, yeah, I can see the possibilities.
I think it'd be sweet to just have more women's, like, just places for women to even start.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I just wanted to start, it was like, where do I go? Like, who do I talk to?
Yeah.
Because people are either so established they don't want a beginner, or there is just no way for you to begin if you didn't start as a kid. That's how a lot of racing starts for people, is they start in the karts or the smaller dirt cars.
Right.
And then you graduate up.
Yeah.
And that builds that comfortability, that car control, that knowledge. But if you don't have that, where do you start other than an expensive race car driving school, which most people can't afford? And then once you finish it, unless you have a car, it's just you used it and that's it.
Right.
You don't get to retain it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it's like with me, I've over the years, I mean, I'm older, but over the years I've done pretty much almost all different kinds of racing, and you learn a little bit along the way from each type of race. And I didn't have anybody. I didn't know anybody. I did everything by myself. Like with my ex, he was there with me, but I was the only woman that was basically on my own doing it.
It's kind of a lot of guesswork.
It's a lot of guesswork. It's a lot of intimidation, but but once you get past that, and it for me, it was excitement, but it was also like getting to learn what's out there. Like I didn't know, and it's empowering, and so that's why I kept moving on to the next thing and the next thing and trying the next thing. And
that's what I always tell people. It has to be someone, so there's no reason it can't be you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like somebody has to be in that driver's seat.
Yeah, right.
So it can be you. It can be me. You just gotta tell yourself that.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes it isn't that simple, because trying to find the driver's seat is not always a straightforward path.
Yeah, right.
You gotta find a door to open. Which
That's
sometimes
right. Yeah,
sucks because
sometimes it's easier for people, and sometimes it's not. And but I think determination is a big factor. I think a lot of times if you don't have that, you're not going to get where you need to go. So,
and that's what I dealt with when I wanted to start. I was not going to take the no or the people leaving me on red or giving me like part of an answer. Like, buy a car. No shit, buy a car. Yeah. But where do I buy the car? Like, what do I do to the car? So just being like, I'm going to keep going until I get in that seat. But some people don't have that drive. So that's the key thing to it, is being a menace and annoying and being like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in that seat. You know,
you should write a children's book, a children's book about girls in Demolition Derby.
That should be really cool.
It would be so cool.
I always wanted to write or have write a book or a podcast or something like The Girl in the Pink Helmet.
Mm-hmm.
People call me that. They'll be
Yeah.
like, especially here, like down south, people know me because I drive a lot more there. They'll be like, "Oh, you're Derby Girl," or be like, "Oh, you're the girl in the pink helmet." I'm like,
That's cool.
That's me.
I like the idea of like a children's book because the kid, if it starts at a young age and they see that there's girls doing this, and
it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and that will be in their head growing up, knowing that like, oh, this is a thing.
Yes,
I could do this.
Because I could see if I wasn't, as bold and blunt and rough around the edges, because my dad's like that, so I was raised like that.
Yeah.
But if I was a more, I guess, stereotypical little girl, not seeing a woman in that derby, being like, it's not for girls.
Yeah.
Girls don't belong there.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, fuck it, I belong there.
Yeah.
I'll beat up on a man. I don't care.
Right, that's right.
We can have a fist fight with a car any day. Like, don't tempt me with a good time, because I'll have it.
Yeah.
But not all little girls have that confidence of like,
exactly.
I can go the distance against a man,
Yeah.
because we are conditioned that we are lesser or not as tough.
Mm-hmm.
There's always I put on the bumper of a lot of my cars, especially when I drive against the men, it says caution hits like a girl, because people say that as an insult.
Yeah.
They won't say it as an insult after I clobber you. So kind of like reclaiming it and taking the power out of it of like, it's not an insult. It's it's a warning on my rear bumper. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't have that perspective. They're like, oh, I have to be in my little box because that's what I'm told. And if I try to get out of it, I'm made fun of or picked on. Or I knew as an only woman driver, sometimes I'm going to face men who feel I don't belong there, whether it's another driver or people in the stands. But I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because you paid money to watch me be here.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I'm here.
That's right.
But not all girls have that confidence.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's why I feel continuing to go be that driver, to show them like, keep doing it.
Right.
Like, it's okay. You will, if I have to be the like representation for you, I will do it.
Yeah. Right.
If I get my ass clobbered by a bunch of cars that didn't want me there, but you got to cheer on the girl in the pink helmet, I'll do it for you.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, set the good.
That's awesome.
I don't even know what to call it, but just something they can relate to. Something people can like. They'll remember it.
Yeah,
Even though you're like, damn, my head hurts. You're like, the little girl's gonna remember that night probably for a long time.
That's right. Absolutely. That's it. That's why we're out there doing what we do.
I always remind myself of, even if I do want to get in like a pit fight or throw a hissy fit, that like there's a lot of eyes on you. Mm-hmm. So be the good example.
Yeah.
And don't be the stereotype that someone's waiting for you to be. Also,
that's right.
Go cry in the car later. Not right now. Throw a hissy fit later, just not while people are looking.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. And with that mentality, you're going to get far in what you're doing, because that's great. And you're super positive. So it's you're definitely on the road to...
There's been a lot of times I have to hug someone I want to punch in the face. So if you can master that skill,
we've all been there.
You will do very well in life.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It was super fun interviewing you.
Thanks. It's really fun.
You're
There's
awesome.
lots of stuff to talk about.
I know. We could keep going.
I know. Like a 6-part interview.
Imagine if we had multiple girls
One
here.
of those like Dateline things.
Yeah.
I have, there's another local girl. Her name's Kaylani. She's my friend, and I got her into Demolition Derby driving. And we just recently became almost like a team, you would say.
Yeah.
Like a racing team.
Yeah.
Like now we drive together. It's like the Big Betty car and the Baby Betty car.
Okay.
So if you ever wanted to have both of us, you just
Okay.
let me know. She's also a stunt driver in the film industry.
Okay.
She does drifting, dirt bikes. If it's got wheels, she'll get on
That's
it.
great.
Crazy little girl.
Yeah, absolutely. I see a future podcast in my future with her.
So if you ever want her, you let me know.
Yes, that's awesome. We
can swap war stories.
One of my girlfriends I interviewed, Melissa. She's a stunt car driver in the industry too. In the movie industry, yeah. And she just did a music video where she drifted around a stripper on a stripper pole.
They'll do anything in a music video, won't they?
Yeah, she was practicing for that when I had interviewed her. So I'm assuming they already got it shot and done. But Yeah, she's pretty rad. I think that's like the coolest thing. That's something I would love to do is get into the industry like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm too old for that already, but it looks like so much fun to be able to work and
long
do
days,
that.
though.
Yeah,
Very
I
long
bet.
days.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, so your friend and your spouse both do that.
Yeah. Luckily, I have some friends not in the industry, so when they're away, I have other options.
Oh, yeah, because you probably have to do a lot of traveling, right? Then wherever the movies go.
Yeah, so they travel around a lot.
Okay.
And then you can be gone for long periods of time, or
Yeah.
schedules are completely opposite. They're up at like
Right,
4 a.m. or work all night until 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So it's not a life for me. I'd rather have a day job and get to race on Saturdays.
Yeah, I
but
guess that's true, huh? Yeah, you don't kind of think about that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I pick my hobbies over a career. I'm one of those. I make a paycheck to make a paycheck, so I can go do something else on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to be in the car.
Yeah.
I think I would rather have less money but more experiences. A lot of people want more money.
No, I'm on board with that. Yeah. That's kind of how I am too. I don't feel like I just need to make what I can to pay for my hobbies, and and in the future, if I can start getting sponsors for stuff, then great. But if I can have my fun track days on the weekend, I'm doing what I need to do. So, so I'm
not trying to be Max Verstappen. I don't need to be huge and famous and in Formula One. I just need to be happy.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, definitely the key to a happy, healthy life. Right there, for sure, 100%.
He's probably stressed anyways.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I can't wait until I can go out and watch one of your races.
One on Thursday.
It's gonna be rad. I know I'll be driving to Washington on Thursday, but
the OC Fair, they have I think it's like a week of demolition derbies or something. So it's like, they do not mess around down there. So
that's cool. Yeah. Well, next time, you just have to keep me posted on your calendar.
I'll let you know as it evolves, as I take on another bad idea.
I'm full of bad ideas.
Yeah.
It seems.
I told myself this year, anything Dan asks me to do, because he builds the cars, he races, he runs. If he asks me to do it, say yes. This is the year of just say yes to Dan, even though he's crazy. And he might ask you to do something that's crazy. You're going to be really glad you did it. So say yes, even if it scares you.
Yeah.
So I said yes,
that's
and now
great.
I got to drive in 2 derbies in 5 days.
Wow. Well, he definitely believes in you because he keeps asking you to do stuff then, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Just
don't tell my chiropractor.
He doesn't need to know.
Yeah. I will put his kids through college for sure.
All right. Too funny. Well, thank you everybody for watching our podcast. We appreciate all the support and love. And again, if you ever have any suggestions about who you'd like to see on some of our future interviews, let us know. Hit us up on Instagram or comment on our YouTube videos. Again, we have our YouTube videos, but we also have our audio versions on Spotify and a few other podcast apps. So yeah, thanks so much for watching and listening to Bekkah's story. She rocks.
Thank you.
So peace out.